My high school English teacher was a space alien. During the first half of my sophomore year at Bolsa Grande High School, I was in Mrs. Elizabeth Cornaby's third period X English class. X indicated that it was advanced, and that we were required to do a 20-plus page term paper, complete with references. I also stayed in her room for my fourth period creative writing elective class. I remember her as a tall, fashionably dressed and articulate woman. I also remember her dashing into the smoky teacher's lounge in between periods for a quick one. She once shared while we were rehearsing Romeo and Juliet that she had acted on the New York stage. I remember her often saying in my creative writing class, "Write what you see, not what you feel." Details are important. They reveal a character. I was only in her classes for the first half of my sophomore year. Our school underwent a major reorganization at the mid-year break. Temporarily, we became a half-day, mornings-only school so that another school, which was being built, could occupy our campus during the afternoon. In that process, electives were eliminated, and I was transferred to Mr. Bertonasco's class. He had better jokes, but lower standards. So, Mrs. Cornaby disappeared from my consciousness. In my early retirement, I again remembered Mrs. Elizabeth Cornaby, and I did an internet search about her. Mrs. Elizabeth Russell. Cornaby was a writer who had her plays performed in New York at several off-Broadway venues. She had graduated from Vassar, acted for a decade in some of Broadway's most successful dramas, written dozens of published short stories, and completed 2 novels. She married Frank Cornaby, a well-known New York playwright who had come to Hollywood in the 1940s to do screenplays, 2 of which had been nominated for Academy Awards. In the later 1950s, Frank Cornaby had become seriously ill, and his wife had to go to work to support him. She had found a position teaching English at our high school. Now in her 5th year at our school, she was allowed to pick up the 2 creative writing classes. My class was the introductory class. The advanced class was reserved for juniors and seniors. Interesting to know, but I left it as extraneous, non-important information. Then earlier this week I saw a YouTube tribute to the lost actors of Star Trek. Actors who had died. Among the many well-known and much beloved actors was, you guessed it, Elizabeth Cornaby. She played Zilarian 14 during the very first season. I researched more. The Zilarians were a highly intelligent and technologically advanced species from the distant planet Zilaria. They have a unique ability to manipulate energy fields, allowing them to create powerful shields and weapons. Their appearance could be characterized by shimmering, iridescent skin and glowing eyes, making them visually striking and memorable. Yep, visually striking and memorable. That was Mrs. Cornaby.
This original audio story was created using voices from 11 Labs and music from Suno AI, neither of which is covered by copyright privilege. However, the story content is wholly original and thus has privileged ownership rights, including full copyright under the provisions of the United States.